No.
It's recording now, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
We're recording already?
Yeah, we're recording already. Because I am so excited. I want to get started.
Okay.
We need to do this. We need to get these videos out.
Okay. All right. So, what video are we doing now?
So we're talking about zoning, rezoning, variances, and non-conforming use. Because I think people tend to confuse this a little bit, especially on the exam.
Right.
So
that's a good topic, and we should definitely jump into, especially the differences between them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we do that, I think we do need to raise some money for our videos. And so we are having a pledge drive.
Okay.
And for your donations sent to 1174, P.O. Box 1174, Hillsborough, North Carolina, 27278.
Okay.
If you contribute $100 or more, you could get a Barbie. You can get a Barbie.
Or if you prefer, you could get The Rock.
And if you donate $200, $200, you could get both.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just letting you know that. Or we have a better option. The better option would be investing in our study guide. Liquid gold.
That's what I like to call it.
So go to 3wiseteachers.com and purchase the summary.
Comprehensive review.
It's pretty much the Cliff Notes version of what you need to know for the exam.
It is.
All right. So in order to avoid having to do this in the future, we hope we see you purchasing some of the books or contributing enough for Barbie
or The Rock.
Okay, great. So you got to stop going to the gym. She's beating me on the guns there. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
So look at that. Yeah, there are some pretty big guns.
Yeah.
All right, put those guns away. So rezoning.
Okay.
Rezoning. What I want people to remember is change in use. Rezoning is a change in the use of the property.
And you might also hear it referred to as a zoning amendment. So you can hear it referred to in several different ways, but you need to know that it's the same thing. Any change in use. And what does that mean, a change in use?
A major change. So I would say it's going from residential to commercial or residential to industrial.
Okay.
Like that would be a major change to me. And we have these zoning laws to protect people. And where we're kind of trying to control growth. Do you want to live next to a fertilizer plant?
Not necessarily. Do you want to live next to a water plant?
Yeah, probably not. No. Well, water plant, fine. Sewer treatment facility, I'm going to vote no. I think I don't want to live next to there.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Or a landfill or a nuclear power plant, right?
Right.
So there are reasons for zoning, and it's designed primarily for the public good.
Right. We're trying to protect the public.
Right.
Now, so rezoning we know is major, and your plant a very formal process. Planting a Z out in front. So if you've ever been driving around town, there's a Z out there. That is for public hearings, public notice that we're trying to change make a major change and changing the use of the property.
Right. And when it comes to that zoning amendment process, about how long do you think it normally takes?
Wow, I don't know. How long would it take?
Well, it varies.
It does vary.
Yeah, it depends. Your favorite answer?
That is my favorite answer. Because it is the favorite answer to every, with real estate. There's very few different answers.
Yeah, there are.
So, the parties that are serving on the committee, that are on the city council, what are their objectives, their political objectives, and what do they want to see happen? If they're making a large push for affordable housing and you bring an opportunity to rezone an area and help them achieve that goal, then I think you're going to get that approved a little bit faster.
Right, and I agree with that. In general, though, the zoning amendment process is a process that takes months, not weeks. So just to let you know, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthier process.
Now, what happens if we're dealing with more, I'm not going to do like this major change, we're not changing the use, but some of these rules are just too much.
Yeah, they're very specific. And if you want to not change the use of a property, but maybe you have a need for your business or for your home that is in violation of the zoning restrictions, then you could, instead of applying for an amendment, you wouldn't need that, you could apply for a variance.
Okay, and so variance, we want to think minor change. We're not changing the use.
Right.
I have a commercial building, and we need more parking spaces.
Right.
And under current rules, there's a lot of green space that's needed. And I can go petition or ask for a waiver and say, look, we need more parking, pretty please.
Right. And so when you're asking for a variance, again, it is not a change in the use, but it's a change in some of the restrictions in the amendment or in the zoning.
Right. I'm trying to build a new construction house.
Right.
And there are setbacks from the road. There are setbacks from the sidelines. If there's a creek that's running through the backyard, there are setbacks away from the creek.
Right.
And that could really limit the amount of buildable area that I have.
Yeah.
I could go and ask for a variance.
And in real life, I had clients that had to do that. They wanted to extend their driveway, and because of the impervious surfaces restriction for the zoning, they were only approved for a certain amount of concrete. And so they had to ask for a variance so that they could have a roundabout where they could turn around for their car. So that's a real life example that I've run into in practice.
There's kind of a cool thing that one of our students did a current event and talked about impervious surface, and they found a plastic that can be installed in the ground, and then grass can go through it, so it doesn't count against impervious surface, and your car doesn't sink in the mud. And I thought that was just genius.
That was genius.
Now, what's the chance that that's going to be on the exam? Slim to none.
Slim
I'm going to go 0.
Right.
Well, that would be like one of those times you could say absolutely 0.
Well, that's the option if you can't get your variance approved.
Hey,
Yeah.
You got to get creative, and that's what I love about this business, is the opportunity to be a little bit creative from time to time, so long as we don't break the rules.
Right.
Now you talked about zoning, major change in use, variance, minor change. You're not changing the use, but asking for a waiver from some of the rules. Then the other kind of big item out there would be non-conforming use.
Right. And so what is a non-conforming use?
But I think that depends. Again, going back to my favorite answer, and the question is this legal or is it an illegal non-conforming use? So a legal non-conforming use, the government's come in and they said, everything's fine. Do whatever you want to do. We're a small town. You want to build a business? Build a business. You want to build some houses? Build some houses. We'll let you do whatever. But then as that town starts to grow, we need to start putting some rules in place. And they might rezone an area and say, this is now rezoned and can only be used for residential purposes. But what happens if my gas station and convenience store is located in that area? Do I need to shut down?
Right. Okay. Very good question. In that scenario, the gas station or the convenience store can continue to operate. That would be a non-conforming use if the zoning has changed, but that would be a legal non-conforming use. What's another word for legal non-conforming use?
I don't know. What is the other name for it?
I mean, you're almost old enough to be one, right?
Oh, are you saying grandfathered in?
Grandfathered in.
Wait a minute here. No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe.
Now, technically mathematically possible, but not probable and not happening.
Okay.
So,
okay.
no.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, yes, it could be said to be grandfathered in. Thank you. I would like to point out, one of us has gray hair.
Yeah, one of us doesn't have very much at all.
Yeah, and I kind of walked into that one. So
Okay.
genetics. It's from having 3 girls.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's just gone.
Oh.
It's gone after that.
Well, I have no comments.
Okay. So again, it could be grandfathered in. You can will it, you can sell it, you can transfer it, as long as you're continuing in the use in many circumstances. So this is another one of those, it depends on what the rules are.
Yeah. Watch out for questions that have always or never. You want to watch out for those types of questions because there's always the scenario that may not conform to regular standards there.
I kind of say there's very few definitives on the exam.
Yeah.
Like definitively, we have to always have a listing agreement in writing from inception if we're listing a property for sale or for rent.
Right.
That's very specific. And then standardized tests, they really go for those definitive terms as distractors. So always ask yourself if there's a situation where this doesn't apply.
Okay. And so back to non-conforming uses, there is the legal non-conforming use, and that would be if you're using the property in any fashion that is not the current zoning for that property. That would be a non-conforming use, but then it's legal if you were using it before the zoning changed.
Yeah, so legal before, they change the rules, we can continue on.
You can
in many
continue to use
circumstances.
until when?
Until you abandon it. So if you abandon that use, then that would end it.
Right. So if the use ever stops, then the new owner of that property, the new purchaser, would have to conform to the current zoning at that point. Okay?
So what happens if I purchased a property, and it's a large property. I decided to carve it up into 3 units. So I turn it into a triplex, and I start renting that out.
Okay, I would say that's a savvy business investment, right?
Hey, I'm making money.
Yeah,
I'm making money.
But the one thing is, did you check on the zoning first to make sure that that was permitted?
I'm supposed to do that?
You're supposed to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't check.
Okay,
And it's against the rules, but I've been doing it for the past 20 years. Can I get that approval through adverse possession?
Oh, okay. Excellent question. Well, since you've been doing it, does that make it legal now?
I don't think so, but,
yeah,
but can I
it's one of those
keep
things.
going?
It's one of those things where it's okay as long as you don't get caught, right? So the real answer to that is, if you have been doing it illegally even for 20 years, that still does not make it legal.
So it's an illegal use. It stays an illegal use, and if somebody finds out about it,
you can be fined. You can be ordered to stop the use. You can be ordered to conform to current zoning.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Did we cover all the topics?
I think we did.
I think we did.
Yes.
And then our what are we doing with Barbie?
Barbie, $100. The Rock, $100.
Or $200 together.
$200 for both.
But I think a better deal would be to purchase our wonderful review book, right? So that would be a better option, and I think they would help you more on the exam.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know though. I think the Rock would be pretty helpful.
Maybe free.
Thanks again.
Thanks. See you on the next video.